I watched the movie The Whistleblower, and it was very intense. It was emotional and told a true story through a movie that a lot of people would enjoy, I think. It was about an investigator named Kathy who has trouble with her husband and loses custody of her daughter, so she decides to go over to Bosnia and help out over there. And while she's there, she runs into a sex trafficking deal and investigates it and realizes that lots of people from the UN and investigators and police are involved in the sex trading. And they're not only involved, but they help out with it. And when they're supposed to be the ones helping these girls, they are the ones that are making their lives even harder and scarier and very, very terrible. One part of this movie that stood out to me was when Kathy first got to Bosnia. They were showing her the different cases that they had at the time that were open, and one of the victims was an elderly woman who was beaten up and basically tortured. No one wanted to be the lead in this investigation and take it on for themselves because the racial and cultural differences in Bosnia at the time. This is similar to the article that we read in class about the Nepalese people from Bhutan. This group of people were singled out because they looked a little bit different and because their culture was different. When it came down to it, though, they were still from Bhutan just like the other people, but they were treated differently. Another part of the movie that hit me was when they couldn't help Erica anymore. She was one of the girls that was being trafficked, but that Kathy found and was trying to help get back to her family. They couldn't help her any longer because her parents had been killed in the war, and she didn't have any documents anymore. Because of this, she was now a girl, as they said in the movie, without a country, but as we learned it in class, she was a stateless person. Finally, I made the connection of Kathy to Father Hartley, who we learned a lot about. The other investigators Kathy was working with at this time were telling her that it was no longer safe to stay in Bosnia and work. This was because she was uncovering things that the higher-ups didn't want people to know about, and they were trying to cover up. And she, however, felt very obligated to stay and wanted to help the girls that she had found and wanted to bring them back to their families. She felt a connection to them and couldn't just up and leave them. This is exactly like Father Hartley, who we learned about in the sugarcane industry. He was a priest in the Bates in the Dominican Republic, which is where the sugarcane workers live in very, very terrible conditions. He is fighting against the rich sugarcane farm owners and stays in the Dominican even when he's being threatened. And he feels a big connection to the sugarcane workers and continues to stay in the Dominican even when it's very dangerous for him and his parents want him to leave, and everyone tells him he should, but he still doesn't. This is a very good movie, and I think if people haven't seen it, they should definitely watch it.